Hello, Hollywood Times viewers. Judy Shields here. Today, we welcome husband and wife, Doug and Emmy Jo, creators and stars of the new Zoo Revue. You two, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Doug.
And I'm Emmy Jo. My real name is Emily Jo, but Emmy Jo on the show.
And we're from the new Zoo Revue.
That was many years ago, folks. There may be a lot of you teen boppers out there that haven't heard of it, and we hope that you have through your parents. And their show was on syndicated between 1972 and 1977. So I was 12, and I have two sons, and I have three grandsons, and they know all about your show as well. So tell our viewers about New Zoo Review Show.
It was a thrill to create the show and write all the storylines and over 600 songs for the series, and it's just been a blessing. It really has been.
Yeah, and it's really wonderful to find out that here you were watching the show when you were 12 years old, and you're all grown up now.
Yes.
And you have two sons and three grandsons. We have 11 grandchildren, and 9 of them are boys. So we're really into boys. We understand boys.
I mean, that's so amazing because I have a daughter-in-law, and that's it, and then all the boys.
Well, but I'll tell you, the show was just magical when we were producing it and on the sound stage. We did our first season at the old Desilu Studios.
Yes, we did.
In Hollywood. That was where the first season took place, and then we moved to Cinema General, and then we moved to the Burbank Studios for the final season.
Oh, it must have been kind of fascinating to be over at Desilu Studios, huh?
Oh, it was. I mean, you talk about the history, and we were a couple of green kids, just in college. I was basically just out of college.
Yeah.
So was Emily.
Wow. So what was the inspiration for you creating the show? Let's go back to the very beginning. When did it come up here and on there,
Well, it was kind of a fascinating story. My mom worked at a toy store in Whittier, California.
Oh.
And the owner of the toy store, Barbara Atlas, had a beanbag frog, just a little
one. It was a little, it's fitting the palm of your hand.
Yeah, beanbag frog named Freddie. And she was talking to my mom one day, and she said, I want to build a kid show around this little beanbag frog. Do you know of anybody who could help? Well, my mom, being a good mom, said, well, my son is a playwriting major at Cal State Fullerton. Maybe he can help you. I think he could. So I had a meeting with Barbara, and she said, okay, here's a parameter. There's a green beanbag frog. I want him in the show.
And, I remember something, because we've done several interviews now, and this is kind of coming back in my memory that you may not even remember. But at the time, you were designing, Barbara had hired you to do needlepoint designs. You were doing needlepoint designs
for the toy store.
For the toy store. That was kind of one of his many part-time jobs.
So anyway,
and so she knew of him, and she liked your designs. So when your mother suggested you, she said, "Yeah, I'll see what he can do."
So anyway, that night I went back and with my guitar composed the theme song, sketched out the sets and some characters, and took it back to her and said, I'd like to do a show about relationships. And she looked at it and said, I really like that. And so that's really how the show was born. Now, her owning a toy store, she had connections to Mattel Toys.
Oh.
And so she arranged a live audition with Emmy Jo and myself. We were playing the guitar, and I was playing myself and Freddie and Henrietta in my falsetto voice. Emmy Jo was playing herself and Charlie. And that's why it's called Revue, Revue, because we were all different hats. And so we were on stage in front of the owners and executives of Mattel Toys, and we were pouring our heart out and singing the songs and just thinking that, wow, this is going to have a great reaction. And guess what? No reaction at all.
Really?
It's a typical audition.
Yeah.
Okay, do your thing, and then it's just silence. And we're standing there thinking, okay, what next? And it was just, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Off we went.
So it wasn't for another couple months that they called and said, hey, we want to do your show. So
Oh,
that's
I mean,
that's how it was.
that's gotta be like a shock when you just explained it. You're so excited and all of a sudden nothing. You're like, huh? What? I could imagine.
Well,
During that, I might just say, during that time, we got married in
Yeah.
Dallas, and we had to get back for the pilot, and Doug got some American Airlines stationery. In those days, they had stationery on the
Yes.
planes, and he sketched out the set,
Yeah.
and I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. I've got it all in a scrapbook somewhere.
Aw.
And it was really cool. We didn't get a honeymoon, but that's okay.
You got a show.
Yeah, we got a show instead. And that's just fine.
But it was
Well-
it was just wonderful. And then we moved into production, and both of us have theater backgrounds.
Mhm.
That was our thing. I was a playwriting major. She was a acting major. And so doing television was like totally different for us.
Yeah.
I bet it had to be from the stage to that.
We had a
room with
lot
the
to
cameras.
learn. A lot to learn.
Yeah, you just learn that you're not playing to the back of the house with a camera. Otherwise it's too big. So
No.
Really, everybody on our set, everybody that worked on the set, from the crew to the other cast members, were very experienced in movies and television, and they helped me a lot. It was just wonderful.
They helped both of us.
We worked with wonderful people. It's such a happy memory.
Well, so we talked about folks behind me. You could see we have Freddie the Frog. So let's talk about the other two characters. Henrietta, how did she get the name first?
well, she got the name because there was a lady at my church named Henrietta and had a great personality. And I thought, well, what great name for a hippo. And then Charlie the Owl was actually originally a giraffe.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was going to be Charlie the giraffe, but you can imagine a giraffe on the set was not going to make it. His head would have been cut off in every shot. So
And Doug, your name was originally Xenophanes.
yeah.
What? Say that again?
Xenophanes Zoo.
Xenophanes Zoo.
Okay.
That's because we were zookeepers at the
Yes.
in the initial creative stage, but eventually we just kept our names, Doug and Emmy Jo.
That
But-
was yes. And so you came up with I heard that you wrote all the original music and songs.
Yes, yeah, I wrote over 600 songs
Yeah.
for the series, and it was wonderful because my dream was to have a show on Broadway, a musical, because I'm a musical comedy nut, and but here to be able to write a musical for kids every day of the week, because the way we structured the show, each script had 3 songs, and all those songs furthered the plot, like in a musical comedy. There was some exposition, then some conflict, and then resolution. So it was just wonderful.
Oh, you got your dream to do a Broadway show on TV. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Let's talk about, you had Mr. Dingle, who was the postman and the shopkeeper. Let's talk a little bit about who played it first in the character and how that person came about.
Well, that was Chuck Woolery. And I don't know, you wrote him into the show. We needed a postman.
Well, we needed somebody who was going to be able to, at that time, there was no email, of course, and no internet.
Yes.
We need somebody to deliver the mail and packages and stuff to make the script work. And so we came up with a postman called Mr. Dingle.
And didn't he do a great job?
Yes, I loved him.
Here we are 50 years later, and he's one of the favorites.
Yeah. And so we actually gave him his first acting gig, believe it or not. And
Wow.
he went on to do great things after
He
us,
sure
for
did.
sure. But we had a ball. We could hardly keep a straight face every time he drove the bicycle in and crashed into the wall. I mean, we were laughing so hard had to do a retake almost every time.
No
And you can
kidding.
imagine how fun that was.
And then you had
And
Mrs. Goodbody, who was the nosy neighbor and the advice columnist for the All New Zoo Gazette. Where
Yes,
did that character
and-
come
and-
from in the actor?
Again, we needed somebody to be a foil for Charlie and Freddie, and it was all about relationships. So
Yeah.
we had to have an actress that was going to have a little edge to her, where she could interact with Emmy Jo and react to other people, and yet show her emotions as well. So perfect character, Fran Ryan. I mean, what a great character actress. Oh my goodness.
Great actress.
She was in everything. Gunsmoke. I mean,
Yes.
you know, you name it.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate to have these kind of great people with us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just, getting the cast that you did have, and then like the costumes. You got Freddie, you've got Henrietta, and you got the costumes. So who designed the actual costumes?
Well, I came up with the original sketches, but
Okay.
Sid and Marty Croft
Oh, of course.
actually built the costumes. We were able to go to their studio and see the process, and I mean, it was just fascinating. And we were able to make changes, like give Freddie a little bit more of a smile. Let's have can the eyes work on Henrietta so she can blink? I mean, all these little things, and how to make the characters come alive, because we wanted the kids to relate to them as people.
Yeah.
So,
What was it like for the two of you to see them the first time, like an actor inside, and then what was that like to you?
So it was pretty amazing. I mean, it was amazing. And they did come alive. The actors, the dancers inside those costumes were so fabulous. Larry Thomas, who was in the Henrietta costume, who was one of the great, great dancers in Hollywood. I mean, I've seen her in tons of things, tons of movies, old movies and stuff. And then Sharon Baird, who was in the Charlie costume, was one of the original Mouseketeers and an extremely good dancer. And then Yanko, who was inside, Yanko Inoni, who was in the Freddie costume, was another just great dancer. And they made those costumes come alive.
yeah.
And then, of course, the voices that were off stage
Okay.
were just amazing. It's very easy to imagine when you were in a scene that they were real.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be doing a scene in Henrietta's little house that I just loved. And it was like, she was like a real person.
Oh my gosh. I know. It's just, going back and look at, that's the thing about the internet and YouTube. It's amazing to go back. And that's how I was able to show my grandkids, because, this past weekend, so that they could see more of them, and I'm showing my older boys who are 38 and 33. I'm like, do you remember this? And they're like, oh, I remember that owl. My son's like, I like the frog. So, having those nice memories. I just read here that you guys had a Facebook Live event. What was that like after all these years?
Oh, that was wonderful. That was wonderful, Judy. Let me tell you, our daughter, our oldest, we have 3 children.
Okay.
And our oldest daughter, Joanna, who was born during I'm not in most of the shows the last season because I was on maternity leave with our little JoJo. Well, she walked into the house maybe it was New Year's Eve of last year, and said, I've created a Facebook page for you. And it has just taken off. And she's now got quite a following because everybody loves her. She's got a great personality and is absolutely beautiful inside and out. And so every once in a while, she'll say, I think we need to do a Facebook Live. And we go over to her house and she tells everybody, and people just write in their questions or things, and she tells us, and it's fun because we get to have a conversation with our New Zoo kids, because all of you who watched the show when you were little are part of our New Zoo kids, and we didn't come up with that. Some of the kids came up with it, and they wrote in to Joanna and said, we've got to have a group. We're going to be the New Zoo kids. And that's just fine. That's just fine. We're proud of all of you.
And the Facebook Live was so cool because we did one where I got to play some of the songs that I composed for the show. So I had my guitar on the Facebook Live, and I had to really relearn how to play these songs because it's been so many years. And that was so much fun to see the reaction of the kids and having them actually sing along.
And plus we brought Freddie.
Yeah.
And so Freddie's in the background eating popcorn.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we really have enjoyed this because we had been away from New Zoo for almost over 40 years and had not really done anything but raise our family. And I was behind the scenes with a production company in Las Vegas, Laguna Productions, doing commercials and everything, behind the scenes. And so we were just it wasn't until Joanna, gave birth to the show again that we actually found out how much the show meant to people.
Yeah.
Oh, it did. And today the United States, the world, we're a little off, and
I know.
it would be great to bring, this kind of show back so that we can share it, with our kids, because it's about relationship. It's just a good feel show. So, thank goodness for your daughter. Is there a way to be able to go back and look at that on Facebook? Is
Oh,
our
yeah.
handle?
If you go to our Facebook page, which is the New Zoo Revue, because there's some other New Zoo Revue pages that we don't have anything to do with. But the one she started is the New Zoo Revue. And if you just scroll down,
you'll see all of them.
See, we've done two or three of them.
Yeah, we have. And you'll see all of them. They're posted there on our Facebook page.
So is it the one that has a picture of the two of you back in the day of your show? Is that it? TV show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a black and white background picture.
Okay.
And then us in a circle by the mailbox.
You should see that there's a store. You can see where it says store that you can click on so that you know that it's authentic.
You got it?
Yes. Because I wanted
to.
Yeah,
that's the one. That's the one.
Because I've just followed you or followed it, and I want to be able to post that. I want to post that as well. And oh my gosh, look at all this. There you are. The two of you haven't changed at all. Your hair's a different color, but you still look amazing. You really do. Well, I have to say that your Emmy, that your husband is very handsome.
No,
thank you.
And you're very beautiful. You guys look exactly the same.
Well, you're just so sweet. Yeah. And you may need to get stronger glasses, but we appreciate that.
Let me take them off. Nope, you still look good.
But I'll tell you, if you scroll down, we put clips up of the old shows and on Facebook Live. It's just a fun trip down memory lane on that. I'll tell you what.
Oh, look at here's you and Freddie.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
I'm not going to get no work done. It's just going to be looking at this all day
but I can also
goes and goes and goes.
That's
oh my God.
And also Judy, the thing that's wonderful about it is that we feel like you do, that a show like this needs to come back. We need to, because we want kids to love each other and treat each other with respect and love and kindness. And where is that in the world today? We've got to go back to that.
Because, like you said, we have my youngest grandson he'll be 5 in January. My middle one from the same mother and father is 14. And the oldest is 21. So are they spread apart? 21, 14, and 5.
Yes.
So but it's just like sometimes we feel for our grandkids and what this life is going to be. And I try to bring the positive. This show I know it's like reruns, but it should come back with you all now, with the creation of the critters coming back. Another show, bring it like the reunion. You've got to do a reunion live show for all of us and all of our kids and grandkids.
Well, if you look on the Facebook page, there's an animated version of our theme song. You have to scroll down there, but we think that might be a good way to bring it back.
That'd be a good way to bring it back.
He is a very, very talented animator, and he's one of our New Zoo kids, as a matter of fact, and got in touch with Doug and offered to. No. It's much further down.
Okay.
It's quite a ways down.
Got it.
It's black and white, isn't it?
No, it's not black. It's colored.
Oh, it's not black and white. It's colored. I'm sorry. But it's the whole theme song. And it's just fabulous.
I'll find it and put, is it?
And it'd be great.
No,
keep going.
That's an album cover.
That's an album cover. There you go.
Judy, maybe Doug,
I can send it to you.
Okay, that'd be good, because I'd love to share it with our readers and our listeners, viewers, so that we can. But that's true. The kids are so into television and animation.
Yeah,
that would be an awesome PBS kid show. Something like that.
Well, it's a very updated, and it's all Doug's music and his. It would be a great way to bring it back, and I totally agree with you. It's so needed. And we hear from people all the time saying, I just would like to have something where I could go make dinner and not have to worry about what my kids are watching, or people that write in and say, we want to show that's gentle, that's kind.
And
so
that's exactly, how
we're here. That's for sure. We feel really strongly about that with our own children. We just, Mr. Rogers was so good about that.
Oh, just wasn't it?
Children, they respond, as you know, to gentleness and kindness, and we've heard from, oh my goodness, Judy, so many of our new Zoo kids, and many of them are like you. They've just had wonderful backgrounds and families and all, but not everybody.
Yeah.
And we've had quite a number that have written to us and said, I came from a very unhappy, difficult home.
Yeah.
And you were a comfort to me. And I used to pretend that you were my parents. And
Aww.
so I think we filled a gap for a lot of children that we did not realize at the time at all. We didn't know. We just thought we were doing an entertaining show for kids.
Yeah.
Just an wholesome entertainment. And it's turned out to be so much more and affected many children on a very, very deep level.
And all these years later, it's going to make a difference in someone's life. Just watch it.
I hope so.
That's the fascinating thing about it, is all the themes that we wrote about, telling the truth and kindness, and all of those themes are evergreen. They're out there, and they still are relevant, maybe more so today than ever.
And we
need
manners.
Remember
what happened to manners? Where have manners gone?
Freddie spontaneously threw his roll into the soup.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, I know the parents, it's harder now because, most of us have to work. The women are working in a working world. Our kids have to go to daycare. If we can't, if you're blessed to have your grandparents, your parents take care of your kids, that's wonderful. And that doesn't always happen because, it's like in life, you really don't, I strive to tell my kids it's okay to find a woman who believes in staying home and raising your kids and being a housewife, because to me, that's how I was raised and that's how I wanted my life to be, but my husband passed away and it was a lot of things, that you have to go through. And I says, I meet a fella now and it's just like, they just look at me like, what? And I'm like, why not? Of course I'm not going to have kids now, but I'm ready for retirement soon. But it's just, they just have such a different mindset. It's just too much about themselves and not the whole family like it should be anymore.
Well, and I think parents are in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of parents need to work for, they still have to send their kids to college, and it's just a different world than it was all those years ago. And I think it's great for women to have careers. And when I was growing up, when I was young, all those 100 years ago, it was very unusual for a woman to have a career. And I just think it's great that I remember one of my good girlfriends was the first one to become an attorney. Of all the people that I knew, of all the women, all the girls that went to my high school, she became an attorney and later a judge. And I just thought that was fabulous.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't imagine that. Even in sports, we didn't have the sports opportunities that girls do now.
Today, softball and soccer, all the things.
But it is hard sometimes to blend that with keeping an eye on your kids. And it's very important, if you have to use daycare or whatever, if you don't have parents or others that can care for them, that you have a daycare that has the same values that you do, and that you have real confidence in.
Yeah, that's for sure. I also read here that you guys went to Comic-Con in San Diego. Was that your first time, and what was it like?
Oh, Doug, tell
me. I wish I was there.
That was our first Comic-Con ever. And they said, well, you picked a good one. But we got invited there, and they kept us for a third day because there were so many people coming and wanting to meet us, and it was just amazing. It was overwhelming, really.
We never even heard of Comic-Con.
Really? From your daughters?
Well, she hadn't heard about it, but she investigated. I don't know how it all came
No, she
about.
investigated it because she thought we should get out there, and now that we have a Facebook page, and sure enough, they wanted us to come out, so we did, and that was our first public appearance in 40 some odd years. So
it was amazing.
It was wonderful.
Oh yeah, I usually go every year. I wasn't able to go because of all things, I got COVID during that time. I was already, because we got PR to go to cover it, because I usually go to cover it. And and when I read this about you being there, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I missed them.
Well, and we found out that we love doing these personal appearances because we get to meet the kids that watched our show, and they get to bring their grandkids, and it's just was great. And at Comic-Con, we brought Freddie the Frog with us. So he was out there greeting the kids and greeting the people that remembered him, and it was just a wonderful experience.
It's like a family reunion, honestly. It really was. I mean, our kids would come up older, clearly not children anymore, but they just had that look on their face, and we would just hug, and it was wonderful. And what I enjoyed, I think, most was I always tried to find out what they're doing. What happened to these little children who were like, you were 12, but many of them were like 3, 4, 5 years old. What are they doing now? And that to me was fascinating. I think I love that most of all, is finding out what your lives are like. Like, it's fun for me to think of you were 12 years old. Now you have 2 sons, 3 grandsons, and you're working at an attorney's firm, and very wonderful.
Yeah, so I can imagine that. What was it like? Did your hands get tired from signing autographs? Did you like that?
No, not really.
Not really.
We're having so much fun.
We just signed away. It was wonderful.
Sometimes I think I'm going to write a book, Judy, about some of the stories that we've heard. Honestly, one that comes to mind, which I just think was so cute. A little girl, y'all aren't little children anymore. I shouldn't say little, but she wrote in and she said, I remember when I had to go to kindergarten, and I always watched Zoo Revue, and I announced to my mother I wasn't going to go to kindergarten, because if I went to kindergarten, I couldn't see Zoo Revue. So I just stamped my little feet and I said, I'm not going. And I think she said that she actually, her mother brought the teacher to the house, and they had a chat and explained, honey, you have to go to kindergarten.
See, I mean, your book would be amazing because you have such a story to tell. And just like this conversation we're having, it would be an amazing, because it would be a photo book as well, along with telling stories about each one of these, like the photo behind me there. It would be an amazing book, believe me, because then we could share that with our kids and our grandkids. So, there you go, Emmy. That's your new thing now.
That's our task. That's
your task. So what's next for you? Do you have another event coming up? Another Facebook Live?
Well, we're going to Philadelphia December 2nd to one of these Comic-Con things.
Okay.
And I think it's called Toy Expo.
And the Philly Toy Expo.
And that's going to be wonderful, because guess who's going to be there?
Who?
Sharon Baird.
Really?
Sharon from Charlie. Yeah.
And we're gonna have the Charlie the Owl costume.
But Sharon is just coming as herself.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, I'm excited. We haven't seen her in probably 50 years. So that's going to be a great reunion.
Oh, well.
Because I remember, to me, she's the celebrity. She's the celebrity because I watched her on the Mickey Mouse Club. She was my favorite Mouseketeer.
Isn't that something? It's amazing the people that you got. But we will get some links from you about your Facebook and whatever, your social media. I'm assuming you guys are going to get some social media out of this now, and we'll put that up for our readers.
Thank you.
And this will become a YouTube video, so your daughter can use that. So you can. It'll be on the Hollywood. We're the Hollywood Times Today, and our YouTube is Hollywood Times Official, so it'll be up on our page. But you guys can share it.
Well, thank you.
But this has been so much fun, Judy. You've got such a great personality. To talk to, and I think this has been fun.
Yeah, we do as I told them folks before, I was just so nervous and excited to meet them because of all that, the joy that you brought me. But they made me feel right at home, like I was, I'm one of their kids now, from
You are.
Yeah, one of the new Zoo Revue kids. So, but thank you for
Yeah.
taking the time to talk to us here at the Hollywood
You're
Talk
welcome.
Studio.
Thank you, and get better.
Yes, I will, because that's kind of like getting all scratchy, this bad cold that keeps coming and lingering. So, but we
Yeah.
do appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
You have a blessed
Thank
day
you.
too. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.